All right, so what we're going to be talking about is two worksheets. We're going to be talking about a new chapter. We're talking about chapter 3. Chapter 3 deals with inequalities. Okay, inequalities are your less than, your greater than, your less than or equal to, and your greater than or equal to. So if you want to take notes or if you want to make a little note at the top of your paper, you have to decide what's going to be best for you. The problem is we are not printing out papers because we're getting ready. We're transitioning into our distance learning. So I'm going to try to not give you papers. So what you need to do is you need to have these up on your computer screen, and you need to actually write them physically down on a regular piece of notebook paper. Okay. I just can't figure out any other way that would be better unless you are printing them yourself at home. That's a choice that you have. But we're trying to transition because it's going to be, we're going to have to be at home for those couple weeks coming up. So I'm just trying to be ready. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So we are talking about inequalities. So remember, less than, I always tell everyone, is your left hand. Less than is your left hand. This is the less than sign. This is less than. Okay, so then if it's the other way, that's greater than. Okay, now if you have less than and you have greater than, you also have less than or equal to. Okay, which is the next symbol. Sorry, my other paper got in the way. Less than or equal to. That's what the sign means when it's underneath it. That's the equal to part. Okay, so it could be that number, it could be equal to that number, or it could be less than that number. Okay, and then you have greater than or equal to. Now, if it's just strictly less than or greater than, these are open circles when you're graphing. And if it's or equal to, that means that it could be that number. So that is a closed circle or a solid or filled, however you want to say that, closed. Okay, so open is when it's not equal to. So it's just strictly less than or greater than. And then closed, solid, is when it is equal to. Okay, because we're going to have to do a few things. We're going to have to interpret the words, graph it, and solve too. So we're doing a few different things here. So I'm going to go through a few examples. Here's 3.1. It says, write an inequality. So inequality uses these symbols up here, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Write an inequality that represents each verbal expression. It says V is greater 10. So we have V greater, strictly greater, doesn't say greater than or equal to, and then it says 10. So that is all you have to do for 1 through 4. You're just writing out the expression. Okay, so we're going to skip down to 4. 2 more than K. Well, what did more than mean? You have to remember from way back in chapter 1, more than means plus. So I have 2 plus K or K plus 2, however you want to write that. Remember, because adding has that commutative property. So I'm going to put K plus 2 is greater than. So now I have to figure out which sign was greater than. Oh, greater than. It says just greater than. It doesn't say or equal to -3. Okay. So K plus 2 is greater than -3. And remember, these are just writing the inequality as an expression. You're not solving them. So this is your answer. You are done. Okay, that's how you do those first few. Let's see if I can focus in and get a little bit clearer. There we go. Okay, now number 5, it says determine whether each number is a solution of the given inequality. Some people get really confused here because this is asking more than one question. It's asking actually 3. It's asking A, then it's asking B, and then it's asking C. So it's saying, if I put in 2 for my variable, does it work? Yes or no? And then if I put in 0 for my variable, does it work? Yes or no? And then 5. So if you're plugging in 3 times 2 now, 3 times 2 is what? 6. So I have 6 plus 5. Is 6 plus 5 less than 20? Well, 6 plus 5 is 11. Is that less than 20? Yes or no? Yes. So A is yes. If it makes sense, put yes. If it doesn't, put no. Okay, so now we're going to put in 0. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 5 less than 20. So is 5 less than 20? Yes. Okay, go ahead and plug in the 5. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 5 less than 20. Well, 15 plus 5 is 20. Is 20 less than 20? Now it's strictly less than. Is 20 less than 20? No, it's not. Now, if that had to a little or equal to underneath it, then it would have been fine, but it doesn't. So there's 3 answers here. Yes, yes, and then no. So you're plugging them in and solving and seeing if they make sense or not. Okay, when we get down to number 9, it says graph the inequality. Okay, well, it says y is less than -2. When you're graphing these, you have to graph them on a number line. I always say start with what they give you there. So -2 has to go in the middle. You need one number above it and one number below it, okay? Because that way I know that you know what you're graphing, okay? So if you go to the left, that's going to get smaller. And if you go to the right, it's going to get bigger. Well, one number bigger than -2 is -1. And then one number smaller than -2 is -3. Now you have to have it in the right order, okay? Now it says it's strictly less than. So is that an open or closed circle? That is an open circle at -2. So you need to make an open circle at -2. And it's saying y is less than -2. Well, where is y less than? Y less than is on, it goes to the left here. It goes this way. Y is less than negative. So like -3 would work. -4 would work. -5 would work. Any number that's less than -2. -2.1 would work. Okay, so open circle at -2, shading to the left. A lot of times people like to use like a little, I don't know, for lack of better words, cheat sheet, I guess. They look at the symbol here, and that's the way the arrow points. But that only works if your variable's on the left side. So don't get too used to that. Use more of like looking at the words. Y is less than, so you have to go less than it. Okay? But if this helps you here, that this is this, as long as your variable is on the left, you can do that. Okay, so let's look at number 13. My variable is not on the left here. Now, if that bothers you and you want it on the left because it just doesn't look right, that's fine. Switch this around. Okay, so you have an F, you have a -3. Your symbol is eating the -3, so it still has to do that here. So I didn't do anything to this problem. I just made it look the way I want to see it. I want to see the variable on the left. We haven't changed anything, okay? Because your little alligator mouth, I guess is what you guys used to call it, probably in elementary school, is still eating the same number. Okay, draw your line. Start with like -3. Okay, one number above it, one number below it. One above it is -2. One below it is -4. Now this says F is less than or equal to -3. So open or close circle. It's a close because it's got that equal to underneath it. So close circle at -3. And it's saying F is less than that. Well, F is less than goes to the left. You got to have smaller numbers. So -4 would work. -5 would work. Okay. That's how you graph those. Let's see if I want to do it. So then if you turn to the back side or page 2, so if you keep scrolling. Okay. Number 15. So it's opposite of what we just did. So they gave us an inequality, we graphed it. Now they're giving us a graph and we need to tell you what it is. So we need to say the inequality. So you can use any letter you like. I know we're used to using X. So I'm going to put an X here. What I do with these is I always look, okay, what number am I dealing with? Where's my open or closed circle? It's at 1. So I put an X and I put a 1 and I leave a space in between. Now I put in my less than or greater than or less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Well, it's an open circle. So I know it's not an equal to one. It's either less than or it's greater than. Well, it is going to the left. It is less than. So I need to put the less than sign in. Okay. And then just ask yourself, does that make sense? Is X less than 1? It's less than 1. Anything less than 1? Yes, that makes sense. And again, if you wanted to use your little like hint right here, see this is this arrow pointing that way. Okay. You can do that. That's fine. As long as your variable is on the left. Okay, and then when you get down to 22, it just changes directions a little bit. It says, write each inequality in words. We'll just write this out, n. And then what does that sign mean? That means less than. N less than 3. And you're done. So that's writing in words. Okay, there's a few word problems. Write an inequality that models the situation. So like on 19, the school auditorium can seat at most 12,000 people. So say people, 12,000, and figure out which way your symbol goes. And remember, I always leave a space in it and then I ask myself, okay, so at most 12,000 people, can I fit 12,000 in there? Yes, so it can be equal to. Now, could I put 12,001 in there? No. So I cannot eat this pea because I cannot have 12,001. So the most I can have is that 12,000. And remember, it can be equal to that 12,000. So then put the equal to sign underneath it. So this would be all you need for number 19. Okay. What I always do is I just put my letter down, put my number down, then ask myself questions to figure out where my symbol should be. Should it be going towards the variable or should it be going towards the number? Okay, this one I can have 12,001, so I can't eat this variable. It has to be less than that. So that's what that's saying. It could be less than that 12,000 or it could be equal to because I have it equal to underneath. Okay, so that's worksheet 3.1. It is front and back, but remember you're doing this on notebook paper and I did quite a few of these for you. Now, we're also going over worksheet 3.2 because this is what you'll be working on tomorrow when you're at home also. Okay, 3.2. So the one that you have should have no number 2. There was no variable in number 2, so you can't actually solve that inequality. So for these, you might actually have to solve first and then graph them, just like you did in 3.1. Okay, so we're going to hop down to 7 and just start solving. So if I want to get y by itself, it's just like when we're solving in a regular equality, you do the same process. Okay, so how do I get rid of that -2? I add 2. Okay, that's now gone. I have y is less than, what's -7 plus 2? Well, that's -5. And then it also does say to graph on these. So remember, make your line. -5 can go in there. Got to go one higher and one lower. Well, one bigger is -4. One smaller is -6. Okay. Open or closed circle at -5. Well, that's an open circle. And it says y is less than -5. So does less than go to the left or does it go to the right? It goes to the left. And you are done with number 7. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try 9. So I want to get c by itself. Got to get rid of this minus 2, so I'm going to add 2. So I have 14 is greater than or equal to C. Now remember, if you do not like how that's written, you can rewrite this. C in the 14, oh, it's eating the 14, so it's C is less than or equal to 14. These are exactly the same. Okay, now graph. 14 goes in the middle. One higher than 14 is 15, one lower is 13. Open or close circle. It is a closed circle too because it has that equal to on there. So closed circle at 14. And it says C is less than or equal to 14. Well, something less than that would be the 13. Going to the left. So this is a closed circle. This one's filled in. And going to the left. Okay, let's try 13 here. Fractions, it's okay. We're still going to get C by itself, so I'm going to subtract that 4/7. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay, that's gone now. So I have C is less than or equal to, well, what's 6/7 minus 4/7? That's 2/7. Luckily, my denominators were the same, so it's very easy to do. Okay, well, 2/7. Well, what number is 2/7 in between? Well, that's between 0 and 1. So I'm actually going to put both of them on here. I'm going to put 0 and 1. Okay, 2/7 is going to be closer to 0, right? So we just have to, it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? It just has to be in between there. Now, open or close circle, it's a closed circle. Okay, and because it's between just 0 and 1, I'm just going to leave that. I'm not going to put any more numbers on there. Okay, and it says that it's less than or equal to, so it's less than to the left. Okay, so I put it a little bit closer to the 0, not quite halfway because half would be 3.5 out of 7. Okay, but we only have 2. So you're solving and graphing them when you're doing 7 through 14. On 1 through 6, you're just solving. So you're just going to get X by itself, or S, or M, whatever letter, get it by itself, and just write the inequality. So just like this part. Okay. Backside, again, you're just solving. You don't have to graph those. That's exciting. And then there are 3-word problems. Okay. Now, you can either answer with inequality symbols with the word problems, or you can answer in words, whichever makes more sense to you. Okay, so, and remember, I am here if you need me, but that should cover 3.1 and 3.2.